As 2026 begins, many people are asking themselves a familiar question. Why does my life keep repeating itself even when I want something different? New Year often brings motivation, listeners, but not understanding. And without understanding how creation actually works, intention alone can feel frustrating or even pointless. So today's conversation is about mechanics, not motivation. Welcome to Cosmic Confluence podcast listeners. I'm Sana as always, and today we are about to explore one of the most talked about and most misunderstood ideas in personal growth and spirituality: conscious creation. Yep. And my guest, Dr. Gretta Chamberlain, is a mystique channeler, educator, energy healer, and transformational specialist whose work centers on one core premise: that reality is not random, it is not purely external. It is shaped by the interaction between what we think and what we feel. So, this conversation is not about positive thinking, let me tell you that, listeners. It is about responsibility, nervous system patterns, emotional truth, and why awareness alone does not always change outcomes. So, Dr. Greta, welcome to the show, and I'm really, really honored to have you here.
Thank you so much, and so honored to be with you and to be with your audience and to talk about something that I love to talk about, which is creation of reality. Yeah. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Greta. And let's begin with first, trying to understand like what does it mean to say that you are the creator? Like you often say that people are not creating their lives consciously, even when they believe they are. Like sometimes I also believe that yes, I am consciously creating it. But uh, when I'm hearing this phrase that I'm the creator of my reality, what do you think is usually misunderstood first?
A lot of times people do not, in fact, most people I can say, do not understand that they create their own reality. Some people don't want to understand that because they don't want to claim the realities that they created as their own. I know myself personally, like I've been doing the work now for about 40 years, but
Mhm.
when I first started, I was studying science of mind with Ernest Holmes. Um, system. And Claudine was my teacher. And I came into the class, which was that I had put together with some friends. And I just happened to get there first. And she said, "Well, Greta, you know you create your own reality." And
Yeah.
I said, "Don't tell me that." I said, "I do not want to hear that. I can't say the word that I said. It would be inappropriate on your station or on this program, but, uh, I added a little flavor to it when I said, "You have got to be kidding me. I did not create this." So I can thoroughly identify with people who find that to be absurd, you know?
Yeah.
But everything has been set up for us to be able to understand it as we go through life, this life. And one thing, the simplest thing that you first learn, and I know I'm feeling that your audience, because of you, has a lot of expansion of consciousness on this concept. But I want to just say that the first thing you learn is that creation of reality begins with thought and emotion, with thoughts. And you learn that thoughts are things. So they're not just something that pops up randomly in your brain, that it's popping up there for a reason, and you're bringing it there for the reason. So, it's thought and emotion. When I was studying, clinical psychology, because that before I worked on this doctorate, I was working on a doctorate in clinical psych. And, one of the books that I was reading for, they were talking about the unconscious, and it was
Mm,
saying that, um, nobody knows what the unconscious has in it or what it's thinking. That was
mhm,
one of the tenets. The other one was that, well, how do you create the reality? How do you create your experience? They didn't use reality, they just said experience. So there were 3 theories at the time that I found under clinical psychology. One was that the thought came first and then the emotion. The other theory was that the thought and the emotion come together. The other one was that emotion comes first and then thought. But
mm,
I've learned that it is thought and emotion. That's how it follows. The emotion is what gives the thought the energy. I always use the analogy of a car. If the
mhm,
car has no gas in it, it's not going to you can't get in it and drive it. It's not going to move.
mm,
It will but it can move. You can get there and push it,
mm,
or you can call for a tow truck. The tow truck will come, put it on the platform, and drive it off. But as far as it moving on its own volition, it will not do that.
yeah,
So I say, but if you put the gas or the petrol to it, it's gonna move for you.
yeah, yeah,
So think of the thought as the car without the gas. Now we're going to add the gas to it, which is the emotion. When you add the emotion to the thought, then it starts to actualize that thought. Now, this process happens so quickly that we don't even realize that that's what's happening. So we don't realize that we are actually creating our reality at every moment because there are different types of realities. Everything in your experience, your personal reality, because some people get confused. How do you know when it's yours? How do you know when you've created it? Well, you're going to know when you created it and that it's yours by the fact that you are personally experiencing it. Now, the one word I would like everybody to cue into is personally. That means it's yours, it's your experience. When you have experienced it yourself, then you have created it.
mm,
That's how that works. If somebody else is experiencing it, then uh that's their creation. But I'd like to give your audience and you um a tenet that works for the entire universe and works for all of existence. And I want to distinguish between the universe and all of existence. The universe is where we are with the planets, the suns, the solar systems for this region called this universe. But we don't know which universe we are because see that which we call the force. I know that sounds like Star Trek, but I
mhm,
always refer to it as the force. And the force is that which has created all of existence, all of it. That means that this universe could be universe number 232, but there's another universe in existence that's number 9,516,000. So there's the force is constantly in a state of creation of reality. Now, with that in mind, what I was going to say that the tenet is
mhm,
create, support, support, create. Like you and I right now are in a relationship with each other. So therefore, it's like, I have, um, I have I'm creating and you are supporting me, and you are creating and I am supporting you right now, right now. It's always create, support, support, create. And that is for all of existence. That's why I wanted to talk about, that the force is in a constant state of creation of realities, you know. All right.
Mhm.
So with that in mind, it's personal. Like if you're temporarily experiencing having a cold or the flu,
Mhm.
or a virus infection. You have created that. If you get into an automobile accident, you're personally in it. You're experiencing some personal things from that experience. Then you
Mm.
created it. Like it seems like for instance, I was in a class with a woman and the professor was saying something. She didn't like it too much, but how did I know that? She said, "Ouch." And so then said, "Well, what happened?" And the class said, "What happened?" She said, "Oh, I have a paper cut on my finger."
Mhm.
So that is that was an accident. It was on her finger. She created that. See, accidents are really our own personal creations of reality. If something happens to our bodies, then
Mhm.
it's our creation of reality as well.
A quick pause for you listening listeners. If this conversation is already giving you language for what you feel inside, or if you feel it's helping you see your patterns with a little less shame, hit follow. All right, back to it. It really kind of felt like a beautifully flowing masterclass, like a lot of visualization and thinking. And then, kind of sometimes we have those moments where we think about who am I, or what is this earth in here, or as you mentioned about the possibility that, because it's scientifically also our astrophysicists and people are researching about it, and the number of universes, like what we are seeing, till the extent what we are seeing is probably the the minimalistic reality that we know, but we do not know beyond that, and we are kind of in that constant kind of run to explore more and more. But it's really a beautiful reflection and a beautiful way to explain, Dr. Greta. So it's kind of an appreciation that I have.
Thank you, thank you. I do have I have experiences outside of Earth as well. So I'm very not with all the species, and sometimes I've dealt with a species that has come from another universe. But most of the time, I'm dealing with species that are in this universe, and all of them are not human,
Yeah.
know, because there are other thinking beings there, out there in this creation of reality. Um, so one thing, with that in mind,
Mhm.
that's why I can say to you that everyone is operating on create, support, support, create. Because I do work with other beings that are not humanoid in nature. So
Mhm.
that is that's one of my tasks, one of my responsibilities uh, that I have, you know.
Mhm.
There are 3, I always divide my life into 3 parts. One part is the medical part, that I do remote energy work on people, around the world. I've worked with people in Australia or New Zealand, England, different places like that, South America, of course, in the United States as well.
Mm.
And I work with people of all cultural frameworks, all religious backgrounds, because it's irrelevant to us. And I work with, because I channel the realm of beings, and they've been with me since I was a child and have guided me to be able to do the work that I do, to go remote. Um, which is not uncommon. A lot of people have learned to do that now. My mentor, who's no longer in this reality, she made her transition. Dr. Irene Hickman was the one I spent 3 days with her, along with others, and learned how to go remote. Not and what we do is not remote viewing. Remote viewing means that you just go out to see things like you'd like if I wanna come to you, I can say, "Take me
Mhm.
to your house," and I will be there and be able to tell you what I see in your house. Or I can say, "Take me into your body. I want to see what do the cells look like in your body." You see, these are all realities. So
Mm.
inside your body, the cells are creating reality as well. Everything is living. When I was a child in kindergarten class, they used to say, the teachers were priding themselves on teaching us that life is in 2 categories. It's either living or non-living,
Unknown living. Yeah.
and we had to learn that because they tell you, okay, is a rock living or non-living? And if you said living, they're going to tell you you're wrong. That this is a rock. This is not a being. It's not running. It's not moving. It's just sitting. So therefore, it is non-living. Now, with that in mind, I must share a story about my
Mhm.
daughter. She's 38 years old now, but when this occurrence happened, she was only about 4 or 5. No, in fact, she was about 4 years old. And I was in a store, a spiritual store, looking for some books to read. And she came up to me. I had taught her she could walk around the store because it had crystals in it. It was a beautiful store. I said, just don't touch anything because mommy cannot afford to pay for it. So just walk around, don't touch. So she comes up to me and she says, Mommy. I said, yes, Kai. She said, I've got to go over and pray for that rock. Now the rock, it was a big, like a small, medium-sized little boulder, and maybe about 6 inches, um, I can't translate it into centimeters right now, but it was
Yeah.
about 6 inches wide, 6 inches tall, just a
Mhm.
big, uh, little piece of rock. So, I said, "Okay," because I wasn't going to tell her, "Don't do that." So I went and I sat near her, and she knelt down in front of the rock, put her hands together, praying for that rock. She stayed there for approximately 10 minutes. Then she got up, she came over to me, and she said, "It's all right now." And I said, "Good job, Kai, good job." Of course, I immediately went over to say, "Let me buy this rock," right? So
Mhm.
I went over to the counter. I said, "I'd like to buy that rock that's on the floor." And they said, "It's not for sale." The lady said, "It's not for sale." I said, "Well, what does it do? What is its job?" She said, "It's there to pick up all the low vibrational energies that come into the store." So with that in mind then, that rock connected spiritually with my child and said, "Come help me." My child went over, knelt down, and at that time we were praying. She prayed for the rock so that it would get better and that it would feel better. So that meant in order for that rock to communicate with my child to let her know it needed assistance meant that the rock is living. So that was a clarification for me that
Mm.
everything is energy. Everything is energy. There and energy is living. It's the energy is used to create our realities. We use it to do that. It's living, and everything is really living. Everything is living, you see, and everything is of oneness.
Yep.
If I take 5 people and stand 5 people in front of me and remove all their corporal bodies, the physical body, take it away, then all you're going to see, you would think you would see 5 different
Mhm.
energies. You're not gonna see 5 different energies. You're only
Mm.
gonna see one energy because we are all one. We just don't realize it when we come here as human. One of the lessons for us as humans is to, you had mentioned earlier about purpose.
Yeah.
So one of the lessons that we have to learn is to love ourselves unconditionally. When people
Yeah.
come to me, "I wanna figure out my purpose." Your purpose is to love yourself unconditionally. When you love yourself, then you can love others. Until you learn to love yourself, you cannot love others. And one way of not loving or not being in a state of oneness is to believe in separation. That is why many people see that which they call God or Allah separate from themselves. Or sometimes I've heard people call it the universe.
Yeah.
You know, they don't understand that there is no separation. That's one of the lessons of being human that we are to learn, that we are all really one, regardless of what nationality we are, what ethnicity we are, what cultural background we have, what economic background we have. We are all one being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So that's another aspect of
Mhm.
creation of reality.
It's a very I think it's one of the most beautiful and much needed, absolutely crucial message that we need to hear. We need to kind of um, get it within us, especially in today's day and age. And Dr. Greta, in the interest of time, I wish we could have gone on and on, but in the interest of time, if listeners, I'm very sure they would love to further connect with you on this to seek more wisdom. What would be the easiest way?
Um, right now we're reworking our website
Okay.
because I used to have a podcast. So they can communicate with me by email, and that would be Greta Chamberlain at gmail.com. They can communicate with me through that. Um, I can even give my telephone number out. I have no problem with that because that's the number that I work with. I live in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. My number is 773-633-1069. And you can communicate with me through just text. I always suggest that people text me first. And I'm on also WhatsApp, so people can communicate with me on WhatsApp as well. Um, I don't usually look at it very often, but now that I've been on these programs, I'm going to check it out more. So people can communicate with me like that. If people want assistance with health issues, um, they can call me for that as well. People call me, you'd be surprised. People call me, they tell me I have ghosts in my house. Can you come clean out my house? And I do that as well. So there's a myriad of things that we do that we didn't get a chance to talk about here today. But yes, so definitely text me. I will get that to you, but at least give me a week. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Get back with you.
Yeah. There you go, listeners. So I'll make this easier for all of you. So I'll have all the details. So do reach out to Dr. Greta. Check out, do connect with her on email, or connect with her using her phone number or WhatsApp. And why do I think, listeners? This is such a beautiful beginning to understanding, exploring the very idea of creation, because I believe, um, you know, change begins not when we demand different results, but when we listen more honestly to what we are already feeling. And today's conversation reminds us that conscious creation is not about controlling outcomes, it is about understanding patterns. So, to all the listeners, you don't need to master creation this year. You only need to notice where your thoughts and feelings are out of alignment. And that awareness alone changes everything. So, this is Cosmic Confluence. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, signing off. And Dr. Greta, thank you once again. It's such a brilliant conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.